Ava stood at the base of the towering peak, staring up at its snow-covered summit with determination in her eyes. The morning air was crisp, and the world around her was quiet except for the soft rustling of the wind through the trees. She had spent years dreaming of this moment, training for the day when she would finally attempt to conquer the impossible. People had told her it was too difficult, that she wasn't strong enough, that the climb was too dangerous. They said she should be realistic, that mountains were meant to be admired from afar, not climbed. But Ava refused to let their words define her. She knew deep inside that no mountain was high enough to stop her if she was determined to reach the top. She adjusted the straps on her backpack, tightened her climbing gloves, and took her first step forward. The beginning of the trail was deceptively easy, a gentle incline covered in dirt and scattered rocks. The fresh scent of pine trees filled the air, and the golden morning sun bathed the mountainside in warm light. Each step felt like a declaration of defiance against those who had doubted her. With each footfall, she reminded herself of why she was here. This climb wasn't just about reaching the summit. It was about proving to herself that she was capable of overcoming any obstacle. The mountain symbolized every challenge she had ever faced, every rejection, every failure, every moment of doubt. This was her chance to silence the voices that told her she wasn't good enough. As she ascended, the trail became steeper, the ground beneath her boots more unstable. Her muscles began to burn, but she welcomed the pain as proof of her determination. She focused on her breathing, keeping a steady rhythm as she navigated the rocky terrain. The higher she climbed, the more the world below began to shrink, the trees becoming mere specks of green against the vast landscape. The view was breathtaking, but Ava knew she couldn't stop to admire it for long. The mountain still had many challenges ahead, and she had to be ready for them. Hours passed, and the sun began its slow descent, casting long shadows across the mountainside. Ava paused to catch her breath, wiping sweat from her brow as she gazed up at the path ahead. The air was getting thinner, making each breath more difficult. She took a sip of water and pushed forward, knowing that resilience was her greatest weapon. The higher she climbed, the more she realized that the real battle wasn't against the mountain. It was against her own doubts and fears. Every time exhaustion crept in, she reminded herself of the countless times she had been told she couldn't do something, and every time she had proved them wrong. As night fell, the temperature dropped, and the wind howled through the rocky cliffs. Ava found a small ledge where she could set up camp, carefully securing herself before settling into her sleeping bag. She stared up at the star-filled sky, feeling both small and infinite at the same time. Memories of her past struggles flooded her mind. Her first failed hiking expedition, the time she had been told she wasn't strong enough, the setbacks that had made her question herself. But now, here she was, defying every expectation. She wasn't just climbing a mountain, she was climbing past every limitation that had ever tried to hold her back. Morning arrived with a golden glow over the peaks, and Ava packed up her gear, determined to finish what she had started. The final stretch of the climb was brutal, steep, icy, and unforgiving. Every step required immense effort, her legs trembling with exhaustion. But she refused to let fatigue win. She thought of the sacrifices she had made, the people who had supported her, and the dream that had brought her here in the first place. She gritted her teeth and pulled herself up, inch by inch, refusing to let the mountain defeat her. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Ava reached the summit. The moment her foot touched the peak, a wave of emotion crashed over her. She had done it. She had conquered not just the mountain, but every doubt, every fear, and every limitation that had ever tried to stand in her way. She let out a breathless laugh, raising her arms in victory as the wind roared around her. The world stretched endlessly before her, a breathtaking panorama of peaks and valleys, sky and earth. She had never felt so alive, so powerful, so free. As she stood there, taking it all in, she realized something profound. It had never really been about the mountain. It was about the journey, the perseverance, the belief that she could overcome anything. The climb had changed her, shaped her, and made her stronger than she ever thought possible. She now understood that no challenge was too great, no dream too big, and no obstacle impossible to overcome. The descent was easier, but Ava took her time, savoring each step. She had learned that challenges were not meant to break her, but to build her resilience. Every difficulty she had faced had prepared her for this journey, had strengthened her for this climb. She knew now that success wasn't just about reaching the top. It was about the determination to keep going, no matter how steep the path. As she reached the base of the mountain, she turned to look up at the peak she had just conquered. It no longer seemed intimidating. Instead, it felt like a part of her, a testament to her strength. Ava knew there would be more mountains in her future, both literal and metaphorical, but she welcomed them. She had learned the greatest lesson of all. No mountain is ever high enough to stop someone who refuses to give up. 4-0.